Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Darick and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 193 of Flesh and Pod. My name's Logan. I'm your host, blah, 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 yakety fucking schmackety. Oh, that was like 8 seconds. Ouch.
Yeah.
So please like and subscribe so maybe we can beat the algorithm on YouTube that way. With me, as always, is Darick Oswald, who hasn't played a game of Flesh and Blood since Obama was president. Darick, how you doing?
I told you. Well, first of all, let me turn the light on so that people can see me. Also, told you I ruined the streak because I played at Gen Con.
You did.
So
we have to start a new one. Did you start a new streak then?
I am currently on a new streak, though that will likely end soon. But that's only because. So I talked about it at Gen Con. I picked some stuff up for Starknight, including this really cool new side.
The Xeno skin.
Deck box. But also another thing that it's been so long I'd forgot that I'd ordered them. And they obviously took a long time to get here because they came from the other side of the globe. But my metal tokens came in, and so I am dying to use them. If you are not knowing what I'm talking about and you're on the audio side, sorry. But I ordered from Etsy. There is a creator on there, and somebody shared it in our Flesh and Pod Discord. So again, this is yet another reason why you should be in the Discord. But somebody who makes metal custom like fab tokens, but for specifically the like token cards, right? So what I am showing on YouTube that you can't see if you're just listening in your car, yes, I'm talking to you specifically in the car right now, is this really cool marked token that has Arachne on it. But there's,
it's very metal.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they are legit metal. I know it's in a card sleeve when I hold it up, but they are metal. But they've got this really cool rune chant with Vincent on it. If you like chibi stuff, and I am not one who is against it, I picked up a set of the assassin stuff. So there is an inertia with new, a frailty token with Azalea, and then a blood rot pox with Uzuri, right, for the 3 codexes. And then of course, as an assassin guy, I have to have a silver token, right? So very excited that these came in the mail, and I'm looking for an excuse to use them now, so I will probably reset the streak in the very near future. But
yeah, those look really good. I mean, once I heard about those, I kind of thought, Heiner's a metallurgist. Maybe we need to like get some gold plated shit or something.
Yeah. Well, so I will say this. There was also a really cool set of like other tokens as well. Some of the ones that I, obviously don't use, but wished I had an excuse to pick them up. Like I got the silver token, but they have a gold, like you would imagine. They've got the copper, whatever. You will notice I got inertia, blood rot pox, and frailty. I did not show you a ponder token, and that is for a reason. If by some chance person who runs this Etsy shop from like the Philippines, I think is where it's from or whatever, you're listening, I need you to make more than one ponder token. I refuse to get the one that you have because it had prism on it. So I purposefully got everything for the codexes but the ponder token because it had prism on it, and I will just wait or just use my existing ponder token until I can get a replacement.
Yeah, that's a pretty big L.
The hate is real.
Yeah, can't do it.
Haters
cannot do
stay
it.
Hating.
Mm-mm. Yeah, well, I mean, if you're not hating, are you breathing? That's just the way of the world, man. But
overall, yeah, I'm feeling better. Obviously, if you listened to last week's episode, I was very confrontational. I was very cranky.
Yeah, you were. You were angry, Dad.
I was angry for like a solid 3 to 4 days, to be honest. I had a well-timed therapy session on Thursday, and it made me realize what is important, and it's not being angry. And that's getting
your therapist to quit?
It is winning therapy. Yes, that okay. Allowed me to refocus my energies where they belonged. So I'm much better.
Jesus fucking Christ. I'm glad that the therapist is there to take the proverbial bullet for us, as long as it isn't a literal one. there's stuff that happened. We should probably
Yeah.
talk about it.
I mean, I did not play, but there was a lot of Flesh and Blood coverage this weekend, so that was nice.
Yeah, that was good. So the first things are there was 2 callings in Auckland and a Battle Hardened. Calling 1, which is the WTR limited calling, was won by Logan Boyd. So congratulations there for winning the WTR calling.
Yeah.
The classic constructed calling was won by CYK Lionel on Dash.io. So it's kind of nice to see, because like Lionel has been close a bunch of times. Really, really happy to see him break through. And also get points on Dash. I'm kind of getting sick of it. But
yeah, sorry, I was trying to bring something up because you actually just reminded me, and this is the...
Oh, I reminded you of something, because this is the way we do things. Like, agendas are for fucking wussies. Like, so we're just doing it.
Look, okay, I said... we'll do it live. Like, you said this to me and I said we'll do it
I
live.
know.
I set the proper expectation. So
you did.
Lupin Fiasco, right? On Blue Sky.
Yeah, John. John, I think is his name. But yeah, Looping. I hope they interact with him on Blue Sky. Met him like once in person.
Yeah, it's much like people will probably forever just call me Charmer. It's just going to be Fiasco to me forever. But posted something on Blue Sky earlier today, and I wanted to mention it because this is the event that I think was triggering his post, and I actually went through a couple of different stages of thought, so I figured when we got to this it would be a great time to do it. So the post essentially was just a kind of a general question to the Fab community. Is it time to revisit Fab development principles that LSS laid out last year?
I did read this. Okay.
Right? And it said specifically, watching a calling top 4 comprised of 3 single burst kill heroes makes me question whether these goals are being met. And then bonus points for calling out Kano, now a dead archetype. And then he has the link back to the, well, not has the link, but also has a picture as well, like back to what the original stuff was. And so just as a real quick, I will read those to provide some context and then share what my thoughts were today. This was under like paths to victory in that original article. Mm-hmm. The 3 bullet points that he was outlining were offer players strategies and card synergies that create game state slanted toward offensive advantage so that most games end with one hero being reduced to 0 life. Now, this is something that I've said for a long time, that even though I love to play Guardian and I know that fatigue wants to be a thing, I still feel like that they did not want that to be like the dominant strategy. And I think we even talked about this recently because somebody had asked about the Guardian Mastery Pack, and I said I think that's the right way to do it because it still cares more about the offensive side, which is on hits as opposed to just flat blocking out. So I think that they're still doing fine there. The second bullet, primarily disperse offensive advantage across multiple turns rather than single bursts of output, so that victory is earned through accumulation of many good decisions. And then the third bullet point is require combo and 1-turn kill decks to complete a meaningfully difficult quest to execute their fundamental kill turn. Examples include Viserai or Florian OTK, requiring many turns to establish the quantity of rune chance required to OTK, or a Kano player completing and memorizing their pitch stack over many turns. Now, when I first saw this, I had 2 thoughts. The first thought was, I know why this was the post, because as they call out, it was just in this calling top 4. 3 of the 4 were basically just like giant burst heroes. Mm-hmm. And my knee-jerk reaction, like almost all the time, is maybe we're overreacting, right? Because I'm a big data guy. I like larger data sets. I don't like to have like one event just change my thinking, and I've always said that like you got to give LSS time to sort things out, etc. So that was my knee-jerk reaction. And then I kind of let it marinate for a bit, and I don't know why, but it just stuck on my brain today, right? It's probably because I also had just like a really like a weird day at work. It was one of those days where it was like artificially long because I was scheduled for like 6 hours to do this one thing that probably could have taken an hour if I could go full bore. But because it was a big like massive training with a bunch of people, right? And I couldn't go at my own pace. So I was just kind of like floating mentally anyway.
Some hurry up and wait.
Yeah. I saw the post on a break, and then I just kind of kept coming back to it mentally. And what I realized is a couple of things. First, that the third bullet, weirdly enough, I don't think applies anymore. And I think that this post is in and of itself probably correct, in that they probably need to revisit it, if only just for that third bullet. And what I mean by that is the one turn kill decks are something that did exist for a bit, but we've kind of seen time and time again where even when they do have a meaningful quest, they're still getting like banned or nerfed, right? The Florian Scepter of Pain thing and Germinate thing are gone. Kano's been hit a number of times as well. It's not saying that you can't still do it, but
Kano, like pitch stack Kano's dead. Like they don't just do the thing. You don't even worry about getting through a pitch stack.
Right. And Viscera is gone, but just like for the most part, I don't think that the true, like the way that they describe an OTK, I don't think is there. But I think that the biggest issue, and this is what I kept coming back to mentally, is really with the second bullet point, right? Primarily disperse offensive advantages across multiple turns rather than in single bursts of output.
And I had this exact same thing, because I thought back to us calling the German
that I was just going to say. The more I thought about it, I was like, man, I remember saying when we were doing the commentary that the theme of the day was, if you weren't doing more than 20, were you even playing the game? Right? Like we said that several times on broadcast, and it really feels like right now anyway, as opposed to, because I believe this article came out originally, I want to say around heavy hitters, which was a little bit different.
It might have been Mistvale.
Might have been like early Mistvale.
Well, no, because Florian's talked about, so it's Rosetta.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's early Rosetta, where
early Rosetta
Zen was like the problem.
And why they were addressing it. Okay.
Right.
Either way, like the game from Mistvale forward, I guess we'll say this is what my train of thought was. From Mistvale forward has been very bursty. Whether that was intentional or not, it really does feel like, instead of it being incremental advantages, right? Because I understand what the article is trying to say. Basically, the way that you can create opportunities for player skill to shine in card games, especially any game with variance or randomness, is to give them as many micro decisions as possible. That way, the player who makes the best decisions over the course of the game should be winning, and that is how you combat the variance, right? And it's not the RNG that wins, it's the player skill, and you do that with micro decisions. The problem is that even if it's not a big OTK, if somebody presents, two, that's all it takes, 20 damage turns, they're already way behind, right? Like there's not a lot of micro decisions to be made after that, unless your opponent starts to stumble or whatever, because the math in a single hand just doesn't add up there. So I will admit that, like, when I first read it, my knee-jerk reaction was like, oh, it's probably fine. But the more that I actually like thought about it and thought about current decks that are performing well, current game states, etc., this I could see them revisiting this at some point. And I'll be honest, I think Super Slam might be a time when they do it, because if I'm being totally transparent, I don't see that as a set with what we've seen so far from the heroes, both from a design standpoint, but also a historical one, talking Brute and Guardian. I don't see any of those heroes being these big burst heroes. So it's either the entire set falls dead, or they have to revisit some of this philosophy.
Yeah, and specifically the burst heroes they're talking about here are Kano, Dash, Io, and Acilio. We'll talk about this in a little bit, but we had one of our uber friends of the podcast, Christian Hammer, get double max V'd out of the top 4 of the ProQuest Plus in Lucerne. And now that in itself is bad, but when you realize the matchup is Acilio versus Dash, you're looking at 2 burst decks fighting each other. And Verdance is also in that same vein.
I was going to say Verdance is not far off, in my opinion, from the
Syndra's
discussion.
obviously that. Like Syndra, we've seen put up 30 plus, like can just shove, and they're terrifying. So two things. One, shout out to Lupine Fiasco for two things. One of them being critical in the right way.
Yeah.
Engaging meaningful discussions rather than just being an off the cuff, knee-jerk reactionary, and instead, encouraging a meaningful discussion about topics. The second thing, I still love that username. Lupe Fiasco is one of my like favorite hip hop artists. They don't get enough respect. So Lupine Fiasco, S tier.
Yeah.
Way to go.
I'm with you.
But yeah, I think we either need to revisit what that terminology addresses, or the drawing board, like the chessboard needs cleared in some meaningful way. And I don't know how to do that. You currently have 25 legal CC heroes, something along those lines. And
so there's that, but also like the optics would be pretty bad because we just had the book burning not that long ago.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So like if they turn around and then they do it again, and I want to go back to, I understand that some of these bullets are kind of at odds because you want there to be a slant toward offensive advantage because again, you want the games to like end in a meaningful way.
You want them to progress.
Yeah, right? So I do think that, trying to ensure that the advantage exists without tipping it too far from like advantage to like there's almost no advantage defensively can be difficult. And I also think that, part of the existing meta, even with the Misfail stuff when that was around, has also really demonstrated this because the only true like defensive decks that have been doing well were either defensive decks capable of their own big numbers, right? Like Enigma and her heyday could still put out a lot of offensive power, or it wasn't like in mitigation, it was just straight up like denial disruption, right? So whether it's new or versions of Slippy or Mario or whatever, like if the only way that you can truly play defense is to take away their offense as opposed to like try to stop the bleeding, that's it. Like there's not really been another successful strategy. That's why heroes like Jarl have been floundering.
Yeah, and it does say something when you have an ice hero with Channel Lake Frigid legal and Blizzard legal, and that shit ain't enough.
Not even close to enough.
Not even close to enough. So I think we might be in that spot where, okay, we need either an artificial, I don't even know how you'd artificially slow things down is the problem. Not without doing something akin to a book burning type of situation.
Well, I mean, I do think, and this is, again, I want to give the credit. This is why I actually really liked this post the more I thought about it, because I think the only way that you really succeed with this is if you go back to the design and development drawing board and you, much like before, you're just saying, okay, right. Misfail was high powered. Rosetta was high powered. High Seas,
it's high powered, at least in one direction.
In one direction, sure, but whatever. So we just needed like that return to heavy hitters, right?
Just water it down.
But not for just one set.
Yeah,
like that's I think the real. But
like, okay, so take this a step further though, right? We have this issue with burst damage that we're talking about, like the design philosophy, right? Like the design and play philosophy. But on the other side of the coin is diversity.
Mm-hmm.
We have 7 heroes in this calling top 8. The only double up is Slippy, which is a disruptive deck, not a burst deck. So if the answer is, your Sword of Damocles, your Sophie's Choice, because I know you love that one. In this all is, if you have to accept that the design philosophy needs to change in the for the sake of diversity, is it worth changing the design philosophy, or is it better to keep the original tenets of your design philosophy and maybe create a less diverse format, like a less diverse game.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be a possibility that the game will get less diverse. Whether or not you're changing your philosophy as sets come out, as whatever, just because they've been doing a good job doesn't mean that it will stay that way forever, right? I think at some point, the game will have another Starvo. Like, I just truly believe that, right? Aurora was, kind of close, right? But it was also just gone really quickly. So
Aurora was close to a printing mistake.
Sure.
Like, let's call it
but that's my point. Like, nothing is infallible. And so I think that those things will happen. But I will say this. I think that you can still maintain diversity while also dialing back the burstiness as a whole. I think that right now, part of the reason that we have the deck diversity is just that, like, again, after heavy hitters, it just feels like everything's been overtuned to a degree.
Well, I mean, to a degree, but like you have, it seems like you pick your lane. Do you want to be an ally deck? Do you want to play a burst deck? Do you want to play a disruption deck? And so
all of those decks you listed are still capable of 20 plus damage turns.
Oh, correct. Like,
and so
that's the problem, is the bar for burst has been raised.
That's what I'm getting at ultimately, is that when if the whole point is to create micro decisions to determine player skill, but we have several archetypes, not just the burst archetype, but I just mean in general, several archetypes that are capable of it, then yes, we're going to have diversity because they're all burst decks right now. They might have different ways of getting there, but even Slippy, which is supposed to be disruptive, can put up 20 plus with the right hand. And so again, my whole thing is that 20 plus should be, like, I think still possible. It's just too consistent right now. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing decks that can do it like on back-to-back turns, and ultimately that's the backbreaker. That's when the games feel like they're becoming a non-game, because even if it doesn't kill you outright, it becomes such a seemingly insurmountable slog at that point that it's hard to showcase player skill because, and again, I guess for me, Flesh and Blood has always done a really good job at reducing variance, and so the more bursty we get overall, the more it starts to feel like. Now, I would have to run numbers. I don't pretend to know whether this is the case or not. I'm just saying from a player perspective, it starts to feel like the variance matters more, right? You were talking about the Channel Lake Frigid stuff with y'all, right? Channel Lake Frigid, if you could start your game and chain them into a Syndra, you would probably feel pretty good. But the fact that you can lose the game before you see your first one in your first cycle means that it's kind of irrelevant sometimes too. And so I think, again, that's where that push-pull comes from. Some of these heroes have the tools, but the games are ending before they ever have a chance to find them. Right. And that's where my alarm bells go off.
Yeah, when Jarl can sit there and stare at their hand of 4 cards plus Arsenal or whatever and go, okay, I need to keep a blue and a channel, blue ice and a channel in my hand, and then I can start locking this game out. But doing so means you're taking 20. Like, that's rough.
Yeah.
Because now that channel has to be worth 20 value. Like, that's a lot to ask for one card. So I think this is going to be an interesting, the next couple of sets are going to be fascinating from a couple of different perspectives. Super Slam, my math and looking at when print runs started, like what dates sets were printed, which is on the collector center of the website for most sets. Mm-hmm. Super Slam is the last of the, okay, you should have known by now sets for the printing, like the print numbers, the low print numbers. And so if we get past Super Slam, and then we have another set where that feels it's underprinted and underavailable, that's an issue. We just talked about maybe you need to water down a bit and not have these cranked up sets. Yes, I mean, and here's the fuck part, is because a lot of times we talk about you throw powerful cards in sets to sell them, right? Because
Mhm.
people need reasons to buy boxes or to buy whatever. You don't have a problem selling boxes right now in general. So I think that you can pull back just a little bit and be okay. I don't think people will revolt, especially if you're giving support to classes that are under supported currently, which we're going to get to
Oh,
shortly.
you're so funny though, because I'm feeling much better, so I won't go on a very anti-community tirade here. But I will say, we have seen in the past that folks can be, to steal a wrestling term, fickle. And we are, if Super Slam becomes bright lights, I think that people
It
might.
can't be bright lights, but
Here's the thing, you know what I mean? Like, I think we could see a situation where some people might be a little grumbly, especially the Guardian players, because I think there was a lot of hope for what Mastery Pack was going to be, and then just based on initial reception, it seems to be that a lot of folks are, kind of unsatisfied with it. And so then if Super Slam also doesn't fulfill them,
sure. I think that the crazy part of that is that if Mastery Pack Guardian had come out when it was originally supposed to back in like March or whatever, it would have been received better.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and that's, that's part of it. I also think that Mastery Pack Guardian is going to be one of those. It's going to feel a lot like Crew and Everfest and even Dynasty, where you're going to be looking to build a Guardian deck, and you're going to be like, "Oh, okay, that's just a rare. I should have that. Why can't I find this anywhere? It's that with shit. It was in Mastery Pack Guardian. Fuck me." And then you don't have it, which is, we've called it getting crude for almost 4 years. So
I still get crude today.
Sometimes people still get crude. I don't, but some people still get crude.
That was like right. So I started playing the game between First and Unlimited Crew, right?
Yeah.
And so First sold out before I had any shot of getting it. And then because of, again, the way product was back then, like if you think it's hard to get product now, let me tell you, because of the way it was back then, even when Unlimited came in, I've never opened a box of Crew. I've only ever got loose packs at a time or ordered singles.
There's a couple cases up there.
Right. But I'm just saying, right? Like, that's why I keep getting crude. I don't have problems with Everfest or Dynasty because those came later and I was able to plan accordingly. But man, even today I'll still get crude and I'm like,
It sucks. Yep. And I remember when Everfest came out, and that was one of like the klaxon warnings that we were giving people, because they were just like, "Oh, Everfest is gimmicky and blah, blah, blah." And we were just like, buy it. Fucking buy it. Don't get crude. And then people inevitably didn't buy it. And so they're like, "Oh, I need this. I need slice and dices or some shit, something easy." And like, "Why don't I own any of these?" And they look up, "Oh shit, it's an Everfest." And it's like, yeah, it sure is. Oops. Or it's like, "I don't own Macho Grandes. Where could they possibly have come from?" Everfest in like 900 promos. So if you don't have them by now, that's on you. I think this might be the most Flesh and Blood we've talked about in this show in like months. But
you're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I will go over the top 8 of this really quick. There, like I said, there was a Kano, there's Dash IO, 2 Slippies, an Acilio, a Prism, a Gravy, and a Fang. People are finding ways to just say, okay, well, Gravy exists, and if I can just ignore his allies with other forms of damage, fantastic. I can beat the shit out of this. And that's what people are doing. And Prism is Prism. There's just not many ways to talk about that. The Arcane Rising Battle Hardened, which was where Kiki Labad, a friend of the podcast, got 9th, was won by Thomas Bailey Galbraith. So congratulations. And that was limited. Arc limited is fucking hard.
Yeah.
Because it's like a whole, like I've never done an Arc sealed. Or no, have I? No, I've only done Monarch. I've never done Arc sealed. And I don't want to. I want no part of that.
my hot take is I think sealed might be better than draft. Now, I will say I've only done one
Arc
sealed.
draft is rough.
But I've only done one art sealed, but art draft, if you're not familiar, you can have like a decent draft. Like you can draft your seat, feel like you're pretty good, but if like one person at the table ends up with like whatever the class is, because none of them cross-pollinate very well comparatively to like Welcome to Wraith or the later sets. So like if you're the only person at a table on Mechanologist, for example, then it's just Boost City, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
congratulations!
If you're the only one who drafted all the wizard stuff, like,
so
hello,
here's the
Kano.
fun part of that, because what the wizards and almost always do is their first picks are not wizard cards.
No,
their
it's all the
null rune to make sure nobody has any.
Absolutely.
And then they just wreck people. That's how wizard wins in Arc. It's because they're just like, it's like, God, I didn't see any null rune, and then the wizard player flips like 6 pieces, and they're like, yeah, fuck all y'all.
They're like, I've got 4 cracked baubles, but you have no null rune. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I can still win this one. Yeah, that has I've seen that. It is ugly, and then if an Azalea player just has the nuts, and remember, you can draft legendaries.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also a thing where a Kano might have a Storm Striders, or an Azalea might have a Cross Wraps, or a fucking Viscerai might have a Grasp, and sucks to suck that there's these outsized single cards that can just absolutely ruin shit. But it's one of the better changes they made in future sets is just not making legendaries part of limited, because I've been on the receiving end of I'm playing Bravo with a Teklo Foundry Heart, or not Teklo Foundry Heart, a Tectonic Plating. I think I'm in good shape, and I'm in a Bravo mirror, and they flip a fucking Tunic, and I'm like, they're gonna get
let me tell you what it was like if you're new to the game, dear listener, to play during Tales of Aria Limited.
Oh Jesus!
When
people had New Horizon Voltaire.
No, it was worse.
Winter's Whale existed, and Crown.
Winter's Whale existed, Crown existed, but here's the other one that I think goes way under talked about.
Rampart.
No, Heart of Ice. Because this was a set where there was
the only
way.
Piece of AB.
There was no way to stop arcane damage consistently outside of the legendary chest piece that was the only source of arcane barrier in the entire set, when you had rune blades like, the rune blade arguably running around. So Heart of Ice could have just been a null rune robe, and it still would have been just as effective.
I still remember calling Cincinnati, walking past a table and looking down, and it was the top tables. Like, I think it was the undefeated tables, and looking down, and this player has a Winter's Whale. And I'm like, well, they're probably doing great. Then I look at the other side of the board. The other side of the board has Voltaire New Horizon. And I'm like, yeah, okay, they're not losing. Got it. That Winter's Whale ain't doing shit now, because they're on it. They've just got this. They've got this locked up. And that was possible. That was crazy back in those days. Moving on quickly to Battleharn Lucerne, won by Etienne Barriolet. Hoping I got that right. On Verdance, top 8 was 2 Slippy, a Victor, 2 Verdance, 2 Gravy, and a Dash. So if you look at that, you're really looking again, your 3 real burst decks. And the ProQuest Plus was won by Johannes Schorp on Ocilio, which is interesting. Top 8 was 2 Ocilio, a Verdance, a Kasai, a Gravy, an Ira, a Dash IO, and a Slippy. So some interesting results there. I was having a discussion earlier this week, because I was like, I'll be in Calling Kansas City this weekend. And the conversation was, I don't even know if I want to play the Calling. Like, Kasai is the best the deck has ever been, and you don't want to play? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, it is so easy to get bored playing that deck and make a small mistake because you're bored of just, okay, do the thing, great, do the thing, great, that you almost have to put cute pet cards in the deck. Otherwise, it's just literally the same shit over and over and over again. And it's consistent. It's ultra consistent. But, and so the conversation was, there's multiple people around me. It's like, but if it's so good, then why aren't supposed to be people playing it? I'm like, because they can't fucking afford it. Like, you need Riches of Tropeldani and you need Eye of Ophidia.
If you want to spice things up and still play Warrior so that you don't get bored, you could play Decimator Dory.
Nope. That's even more boring. Like, nope. Will not do. Although it is one of the 2 decks that, well, 3 really, because of Prism and understanding the game plan. But that's one of 3 decks really that Kasai never wants to see. They can't do shit about it. The other ones are Kano. I think I've talked about that enough. And like a Prism that understands their assignment. Because that's very difficult. You have to try to like just kill them before they can do anything.
Right.
And that gets hard. It's much better when they don't understand the assignment, then life is super easy. I know that we've had a lot of gravy discussions in the last several weeks, but we have 3 top 8s, so 24 slots. Of the 24 slots, there are 4 that were taken up by gravy. We good? I mean, sure. They did get a better blue to put in their deck in Guardian Mastery Pack Guardian, which is wild. But are we okay? Like, is there still? Do we still have to have the gravy discourse, or
yes,
are we fine?
We do.
We do. All right.
We do. Because when we get burst banning, I'm not calling it book burning. I'll call it burst banning. Then gravy is a problem.
Well, yes, obviously, because that's the way to handle it right now. Is just to nuke them.
Right.
All right, fine. And why is there still one? Like, there's one Guardian in these top 8s. One. And I did see on social media that Yuanji Lee threw out there that if he were going to Kansas City, he would play Victor, and like shared the list he would play. But I
think the thing that's the saddest for me is, like, after getting Mastery Pack, I was looking at some of the mill stuff specifically for Volda, because with her specialization, I can see the design goals for the play pattern, and it was like intriguing to me. And I literally, like, I started building the deck on February because I was gonna jam some games online and be like, yeah, let's try this out or whatever. I got about halfway through, and then I remembered gravy exists, right? Like, watery grave is a thing, and I was like, oh wait, like, I'm just filling his hand for him. Never mind. Like, I'll come back to this later. I don't want to run gravekeeping in Volda.
About to say, there are ways to banish, which are usually your win conditions at that point.
Right. But then I landed back on what I always do, which is, like, if I want to play a mill deck that can also banish, then, like, I'll just play Huntsman.
Assassin. Right.
Yeah.
You're just gonna play Huntsman.
I'll play Huntsman with gravekeepings and call it good.
Right. That seems great. Now we're gonna get to spoilers. Now we both get to nerd out. So I went ahead and sandwiched the nerdings.
Okay.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is Armory Deck Rhinar is coming out November 14th. And the card they showed, and we've talked about this any number of times, that Rhinar would do anything for a blue 6 power. The rest of the entirety of the rest of the text is fucking irrelevant. All of it is irrelevant. It just has to have a 6 in the bottom left and a blue strip. That's it. And this is better than that. This is better than a nothing. Because this is a 3 cost, 6 power blue Rhinar spec, which is a good thing. When this is discarded to beat chest, create a might token, and even better is the block value on it is 0, not blank, which means it's still a popper. So this is like Guardian's wet dream. I feel bad for Nathan from Savage Feats, because as soon as he's no longer eligible to play competitively because he works for LSS, they start giving him actual Reinhardt cards that are good.
Yeah.
Poor guy. But this is gas. This is great for Reinhardt. This is everything they could have possibly hoped for. No notes. Well done.
I mean, I don't have anything else to add, right? Like you already said it. They could have just said, blue 6, and then that's it.
No
right?
cost, like you can't actually play it.
No cost, no
block value.
No block. Like the fact that it actually is a 0 is shocking to me, if I'm being entirely honest, because that means that
that's pointed, is what that is.
You will have ways to potentially raise it.
Or they have the knowledge that they need to be able to block with this into Prism or into Illusionist to pop something.
Sure, but there's already so many poppers in that I still think that they, like, I think that they could have still got away with just putting no block value on it. And it would have.
Yeah, there's still an automatic 3 of.
Yeah.
No matter what. So there is that. Okay, time to let Charmer go. Armory deck, Arachne.
Yay!
It's coming out December 12th. And they got a card they don't fucking need. But you're playing
depends on which personality you're on.
But they're playing 3 of it. Well, no, because this can only be played in one of them right now.
You are wrong, sir.
Which other one is Chaos?
Marionette.
Is Marionette Chaos?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's actually where I think this is a better fit for Marionette. Like I know it's going to be in the Slip Through the Cracks.
It's a 3 of in any of them.
I don't know. Like this might come as a shock. This might come as a shock. I don't know if it'll be a guaranteed 3 of in Slip Through the Cracks. Just throwing it out there.
The card is Meat Madness, and it is a 0 cost stealth 3 power chaos assassin action attack. It blocks for 3 because why wouldn't it? Text is, when this hits a hero, choose one at random. They choose a card in their hand, banish it. They choose a card in their arsenal, banish it. Banish the top card of their deck. So this fucks with people's plans.
Maybe. I honestly think because somebody was talking about it, like statistically it could still like hose you, but they were saying if this ever comes at you and you don't have a card in arsenal, there's almost like no incentive to block it still, just because it's like a 1/3 chance that you care about it.
Sure.
My big thing when I was thinking about it for Slip Through the Cracks, which wants to be, I think, a bit more aggressive, right? Whereas the Mario version, because you might get Trapdoor Spider, you're incentivized to run traps and
Sure.
so on and so forth. You're a little more mid-range, so you care more about the disruption. So you would prioritize a card like this. But where Slip Through the Cracks, where you're trying to be more aggressive, my biggest issue is when I look at the stealth cards that deck is normally running already, there's only a couple where I think it's like either a clear or clean replacement. I personally, I don't like it replacing like Art of Desire Body, because that's just Snatch. I don't like it replacing
Infect.
So I was just going to say, I don't like it replacing Kiss of Death, Double Trouble, or Infect, because all of those represent more damage though. And this so it's like, well, it is a sort of, they are all 3 of them are a conditional more damage, but at least it is a guarantee that your opponent has to calculate for. Whereas with this one, like I said, if they've got no card in arsenal and they're like, there's a 2/3 chance I just don't care about this at all, then
sure. But there's a third of the card is almost always live, right? Well, 2/3 really. Because if you end up banishing a card they care about.
Sure, but I just also, most people, as somebody who's played a lot of Huntsman, I'm just gonna be honest, most people just don't respect the like top of deck banish. They just don't respect it.
Sure, but it's
maybe
like,
they should, but they just don't. So
send this, they want to protect their arsenal. You send this, they have to shove their hand in front of it, then you leave no witnesses on that anyway.
Well, and that's why I'm saying, like, it's maybe relevant when there's an arsenal because now it's a 2/3, but ultimately, so like in the lists for Slip Through the Cracks.
Wait, is this card Steiner math?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Because basically, like, you're playing an assassin, so you're gonna lose, right? Because you forgot that they're a genetic freak, and then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, and I guess I should have said chaotic freak, but anyway,
they're not normal,
right? But here's where I was going when I think of like stuff where it's like maybe a clean replacement. Some of the list, and I say maybe, some of the lists that are running like Infiltrate, right? I could see you saying, okay, Infiltrate is a card where sometimes I get value and sometimes I don't, depending on what I banish, right? I may or may not be able to play it. So if you're going to take a maybe utility stealth and replace it with a maybe utility stealth, like that's fine. I think Meat is going to be like more consistent in that regard. So I could see it replacing Infiltrate, but not every list was running that, right? So for me, I think it's just going to land on, you know, what your list looked like before, what you're prioritizing, but I don't think it's an auto include 3 of for all of them personally.
All right. I trust you when it comes to assassinating. The next card is fucked up. There's a Rhinar spec in Super Slam called Take the Bait. It's a 0 cost. Go away.
You said Rhinar spec.
Or sorry, Riptide. Spec. My apologies.
I just want to make sure that the audio listeners
Riptide.
Riptide. Because this would have been really weird with a Rhinar contact.
Yeah, it would be really weird. But this is just go away baiting. Take the bait. Cost 0, blocks 3, ranger action, Riptide specialization. Search your deck for a card, then shuffle and put it on top. Create a bait token under an opponent's control. Go again. And this is where things get fucked up. Because a bait token is a ranger token aura that says you can't play or activate cards you own. Cute. Action, destroy this, and then when the chain link resolves, attack. Once per turn, attack reaction 0. This gets +1 and go again. So I think how this works is you are forced to attack with the bait, but I don't, because it has an attack value. And you can give it, you know, +1 and go again. But by doing that, you turn on all of Rhinar's traps. So the joke is you bait them into then having to either doing a thing to make this actually not suck, or you have to just do this and nothing else on your turn. And turn on all of Rhinar's traps. And that's your option. Like it's definitely very weird how this thing reads. I can't wait to ask Josh how much THC was consumed when whoever decided to syntax this card presented it in its current form. But this is so fucking weird to me. I get it, but it's weird. And you also can just like deke your opponent by getting not a trap, something else that you just would rather be doing.
Yeah, I mean, if you need offensive firepower, you can absolutely do that as well. Especially if you've already got a trap in your arsenal that you plan on putting there, right? Like that's kind of I think that the real strength of the card is the utility that the play portion gives. I'm with you. I want to talk to Josh. Maybe it wasn't a Josh thing. Maybe it was a, you know, designer developer thing, but like how they landed on bait, because you're right. It so specifically is written in a way where it's like, hey, we're forcing you to attack, but we're also going to do so in a way that as you said, just turns on all the traps, right?
Right.
Well, unless you are not going to do the attack reaction. Like there is a world where you're just like, I'm going to like do other stuff and then do this as a chain ender. But chances are if you're doing other stuff, you're already turning on.
That's the problem, is that a bait token is you can't play or activate cards you own.
Yeah, cards you own.
Right.
Okay, well, but I infiltrated my opponent twice the previous turn, so I'm playing their cards. Don't think I haven't thought about how to get around this card. Okay, I'm playing your stuff.
It's probably a better idea anyway. But you're playing better cards. So,
dude, I would love to see the look on a Riptide's face if that ever actually happened to them. Just because it would be so funny to me, where it's like, well, I don't own this.
Yeah, fuck it, it's mine. So yeah, I'm just gonna CNC you with your CNC. But
dude, shit would be so funny.
It'd be hilarious. And then there was one. I wrote in all caps in the show notes, Kasai spec get fucked nerds. This is a masterpiece. This is called Blood Follows Blade. It's a yellow, 0 cost, 3 block, has to block for 3. Warrior attack reaction, Kasai specialization. Target sword attack, fuck your daggers, gets go again, and when this hits, create a Centauri sellsword token. That's real good. Just the 0 cost go again source, unconditional go again source, so allows you to have another card where a yellow is 2 attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Is good enough. And then when you send a vanilla sword with nothing turned on, and they're just like, I can take 2, and you do this, God, that's beautiful. That is so fucking good. And
you want to know what I love about this? Because I was thinking about this today while I was navigating my workday as well. The way that they have made Kasai good, they looked at the meta and they said, okay, what's good right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we make Kasai what's good? Oh, that's right. Allies are good right now.
Allies are good.
So let's just make her make more allies. She's just an ally deck. Why didn't we think of this before?
They did-ish. It was just difficult to do.
Yeah.
And now, because like a lot of times you send, especially if you don't like activate Kasai's ability or anything like that, and you send a sword for 2, the thought process with the opponent is, okay, they sent the sword for 2, so I'm kind of obliged to let this hit. Largely because the next one, if it's Blade Runnered or Run Through or whatever, is going to be the one that has more damage attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Or that their go against source in hand is Glint, in which case I don't have to give them Reprise, they still have to Glint. So great, we're just going to take the 2, and then you slam this and they're just like, should have blocked the first one. Ah, shit. And you just get to extract value. Like, this might just replace... I was trying to think of what this replaced in lists. It could replace Hit and Run, which is iffy. The only reason really to do that is the Hit and Run doesn't get around Overpower. This does. The other thing is it can almost entirely replace Raisin Army. The only time that you'd really get more than one Raisin Army crack is in Guardians or against decks where you can just farm gold.
Yeah,
but a lot of times you want to just pop your gold anyway for free sword swings.
But then you lose the California crew.
You do lose the California crew. But you have more crew off this. You can make crew.
No, this isn't from crew.
Okay. There's still plenty.
Just so you know, we went from a California Raisins joke to...
There's still plenty of crew cards in the deck. We're good. But so this is going to be like, it's not a giant deck building puzzle to try to fit this in, but decisions need made. Because Rich as a Tropoldani made it so that playing Raisin Army is just so much better than it was before, because you can just make more gold, especially if it's done early against certain decks that can slam the door on turn 2. The other end of this is, and this actually enhances that game plan. The other end of this, because this is when this hits. This isn't when this hits a hero. This is when this hits. So if you mow down one of Gravy's idiots, and this is your go again source, now you have a sellsword to mow down another idiot, and then a third sword swing on top of it, or a second sword swing on top of it. So you're 3 attack wide. And all with a blue. You don't need, you need this and a blue in your hand to pull it off. That's pretty good. And then it makes their turn awkward because they have to account for the sellsword now. It's just, this is probably pretty close to what I had in mind for a card that would push Kasai one level up, is something along these lines. And it being a yellow is not irrelevant because of Kasai's ability. So you'd be really greedy to ask for much more. Like, this is excellent. And I need 3 foils. Like, now. I have to wait, but I need them now. Just throwing that out there. Might be the most excited I've been for a card in a while. Not gonna lie. And it's so innocuous because it doesn't give plus power. It's just 0 go again reaction.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much to make us happy. It doesn't take that much.
No, it really doesn't.
No. All right. Listener question time. What do you, a view? Oh, for anybody that's so inclined, there's a really good lore piece up on the mothership. Go read it. It's Valda's lore, but has some little nuggets in there about other things that should be coming soon. So I would definitely recommend going and reading that. There's a guest appearance by Jarl Vitradi for anybody that's a Jarl fan. So really well done. All right, are you ready for listener questions?
Yes.
Sick.
I am now.
Okay. The first one's from Geeks First. Cracks Knuckles. Ahem. Are we back in Kickstarter TCG territory? AKA, are there starting to become too many TCGs to be sustained? Any advice on how to test new ones without paying through your teeth for demo decks? Looking at you, Riftbound. Also, can you approach your playgroup / friends with a TCG you're interested in, but they may not be? At Gen Con, there were many existing and even new ones. Like, there were about 15 plus TCGs, and honestly didn't have time to test all the new ones. I can name them all, but likely you know the TCGs present at Gen Con. There were a lot of fucking TCGs at Gen Con, but there have been for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed. Off the top of my head, yeah, 15 sounds about right. But
that might be low.
There might be some in there that, because some people might not have realized the Cookie Run TCG was there, or Neopets.
Neopets was still there. Russia Vicar
were actually like debuted, which is literally Lorcana.
Which was also there.
Yeah, and then One Piece is there, Star Wars Unlimited was there, Riftbound was there, Flesh and Blood was there, Magic was there, Universes was there, Digimon was there, Grand Archive was there,
Alpha Clash
was there. It's large.
I do not remember the name of it, but I saw there was one that was based on like Greek myth that was new.
Yep,
in the
there's
exhibit hall.
The wrestling one.
Yep, I saw the wrestling one as well. Yeah.
Right. So there's tons. Are we back in Kickstarter TCG territory?
Always have.
Did we ever leave it?
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, here's the short answer to this. We are always in a position where there are too many TCGs to sustain.
Right.
Always. Because the reality is that trading card games in particular are one of the hobbies that is hit most by economic fluctuation. So even when demand is there, it does not always mean that the economy can sustain it. So as somebody, I know Logan's worked at a store. I used to work at a comic and gaming store, etc. The first thing you notice when things start to get hard is that your luxury hobbies get hit first, right? Because if things start to get tight and you are looking to cut costs somehow, comics and cards, even of the luxury hobbies, are usually the first thing to go. Like people will cut those two things usually before, say, like, you know, Netflix or cable or whatever,
right,
just because,
because those are group entertainment.
Those are group entertainment, and they serve the household, right? So like from my perspective, if I stop buying cards, I'm affected, right? But if I don't pay for Netflix, then like the whole house suffers, sort of thing. So it is, even when there is enough mental demand and want and desire for card games and different IPs and whatever, the reality is, like, the bubble is always there.
Right. It has been since 1994. Like,
yeah.
It's just,
but I will say, I don't think that we're in like late 90s, early aughts territory.
You don't think Primal is geared to make a comeback? Actually, didn't it come back?
I mean, everything's come back at some point, except for I don't think Rage ever came back.
Rage never came back. Spellfire never came back.
Oh, well, the Alien versus Predator game I really liked never came back.
No, that one didn't. X-Files never came back.
Spoils never came back.
Well, because Spoils got sued into oblivion.
Yeah,
along with,
but still never came back.
Hex
Just like Wyvern never came back. It got swallowed by Wizards of the Coast.
Except Hex never came back.
Yeah, neither did Hecatomb, right? That was another one.
Did not.
Mm-hmm. Did Harry Potter come back? There was a Harry Potter
there have been
game.
multiple versions of
right.
it. I don't know if the original ever was rebooted.
Right. I think Harry Potter got Star Wars, right? Where like, you know, Star Wars didn't come back, but it did come back like 4 or 5 times.
Yep. I'm pretty well.
But yeah, like, you know, Lord of the Rings never really came back after the Decipher one. No, not in a TCG sense. There's been LCGs, but
like even because like Legend of the Five Rings was originally a TCG that became an LCG. Overpower became an LCG.
There was the Versus system stuff.
Versus system became an LCG.
Did make at least an attempt at a comeback once though, as well. So there was that. The Dragon Ball games, I know there was more than one.
Oh, there's been 700.
Right,
now
right.
I think it's in Universe's IP now.
Which I still think, like, I did not play that game often. I had friends that were really big into it, but I love that in that game, there was a time anyway where there was a card that was like the ultimate counter spell. Like, didn't matter what your opponent was doing, it just like
it just worked.
And it was just called finger block, and the art was just holding up one finger. It was the most anime shit ever, but I loved it. It was just finger block, and it was just the ultimate no, and I loved that. You know what never went away? The Christian card game.
No, that's still being designed
and developed.
The Bible card game still exists.
Yeah.
Keith was like a champion at that game. Moving on. Next one's from Aladoris. With a looming collapse of the U.S. tourist industry, do you foresee a collapse in the competitive TCG scene / industry as a whole? No. The large part of that is if you look at where TCG tournaments are held and what people do with them, a lot of times they're not in necessarily tourist spots. So we're going to calling Kansas City. Tourists don't go to Kansas City. They don't. And yes, there are some tourist trap cities that are going to suffer mightily. Like Vegas comes to mind. Vegas is going to have some very hard times ahead of them.
I think
Orlando, it's going to have some very hard times ahead of them.
Orlando, Vegas, I would say LA.
Because
you get a lot from you do get a lot. LA and Seattle gets a lot from the eastern. Anyone who's coming from the Pacific side kind of hits those.
New York is New York, though. It's the capital of the fucking world, so it probably won't suffer much.
I will say, as weird as it sounds, I do worry a bit for Worlds because Philly is just enough that it's touristy because of the like American history, and it might not be super touristy for like foreign travel, but also so I will say this, I don't know that I fear a collapse. I do think that there will absolutely be fallout, right?
Sure.
There will be people who don't want to risk it and just will not travel, and I do not blame them whatsoever. There will be people that will, I'll say it from our side of things as well, potentially in the future with the way things are going, there will be people that may want to travel abroad to other events that might also not want to go through the new hoops of getting visas, right? Because it used to be for a lot of countries where Flesh and Blood was played that you didn't need a visa.
Right.
But now you do. And if there are people who just don't want to deal with the hassle of the application process or whatever, they might skip it. So,
which is, I mean, I even had to do that for London, right? Like I
Right.
had to do the ETA thing, and it costs like $30.
I was gonna say it's like $30 and whatever, but again, like it's just those minor inconveniences can still like do a lot.
It can stack up.
Especially when it was not that long ago where none of that was required. So I don't think that we're on verge of a collapse personally, but I do think we will feel it still.
Yeah. Last one is from Quiet Mind 42. If we were allowed unlimited sideboard space, which hero would improve the most? Teklo definitely benefits, but probably not enough to be meta. Blah. Any deck that wants to play block for the entire game. I mean, that's really it. I mean, I can stack 80 cards up and just block, or 76 cards or whatever, or 120 cards or whatever it is.
Assuming, so there's two ways to approach this. Assuming that unlimited sideboard means you can run the whole deck, then yes, anything that wants to block. Assuming that you have an unlimited sideboard, but you still have a cap on how many cards you can include, just for the sake of like toolbox. I would say Prism. Because
Prism now gets every game plan.
I was gonna say any hero where you can have multiple game plans will be very difficult for your opponents to plan around, and it also means that you can, again, like if you're running into Syndra or whatever and you're like, hey, I just want to run all the stuff because I know they have no poppers or whatever, like I can just be aggro Prism now, you know what I mean?
But Guardian still gets really good because they can be aggro Guardian, they can be Tower Guardian, they can be Fatigue Guardian.
Yeah, they could, but none of those are good right now. Like I said, get better. I love the class, but like you just said, like 3 mid decks, so I'm just like, I don't fear any of that.
I think Teklo definitely benefits though, because you get to play all of the AB, like all the Evos, so all of them. That makes a ton of difference. Dash gets better, just generic. Like Dash, I use LL, but I mean, gets really good.
Yeah,
if you can just harbor all of the game plans for Dash. But actually Puffin probably gets good. Mechanologist in general probably. Riptide gets good because Riptide can just play aggro Riptide or super trap Riptide and have both versions. I also think like randomly wizards get good because if you soul read them as a Kano and just put a bunch of 0-for-4s in the deck and just attack them, they might be fucked.
Yeah, Scar for Scar works great when you start at less health.
Right. I mean, there was a time that Kano played Scar for Scar.
Yeah, I know.
Because of that.
I was pulling that out of the memory. Yeah.
That's one from the vault, babe. Like that one's from a while ago. But Verdance is another example where can just scale between Ultra Wizard or just Earth, grindy Earth Boy, Earth Girl. Earth Girls are easy. Okay, sorry.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, that's some early James Carey, Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis, Damon Wayans fodder for you.
Yeah.
And
Gina
if you're not familiar, Gina Davis, yeah. If you're not familiar with the movie Earth Girls Are Easy, I don't know if I can recommend watching it.
No.
It's not good.
No.
It's not good.
Save yourself some trouble and watch the far superior Gina Davis movie, The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Beetlejuice? Oh, God, Long Kiss Goodnight. I fucking love Long Kiss Goodnight.
I do
Gina
too, man.
Davis, Sam Jackson. I mean,
That is a really underrated
Hot
film, in
damn,
my opinion.
it really is. It is so
Like, everyone
good.
knows her for Beetlejuice. Everyone knows A League of Their Own, those things. But like, when I don't know why, I think of Gina Davis, I'm like, man, Long Kiss Goodnight is like a very, I think, uncelebrated good flick.
Yeah, it's definitely underrated. I love Long Kiss Goodnight. I watched the shit out of that movie when I was younger.
That was like emerging Sam Jackson days. I think everyone's so used to him being so iconic that they forget there was a phase in his
post Pulp Fiction.
Post Pulp Fiction, but he was still not like the star yet. It was post Pulp Fiction, and I believe also post Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah. Jurassic Park came before Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
but it was also post Jackie Brown, I believe.
Wow, that one would be a surprise. I thought it was like in the middle, in between there.
Long Kiss Goodnight is 96.
I know it was before Die Hard 3.
Jackie Brown is 97.
Yeah,
so it is before.
Because it was like that weird middle era. Yeah. Because I remember he was on the film, but like it was not a widely like received film, because I felt like at the time in their career, neither Gina Davis nor Sam Jackson had enough star power to draw people in on their own, and that was still in the era of Hollywood where like people came to see the names as opposed to the film. It's very, so like the Long
It's early
Kiss
Shane
Goodnight,
Black. So
yeah. Well, so here I was just about to say the Long Kiss Goodnight ironically has Kiss in the name, but I liken it to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Right.
In that it was not widely received, but was also outstanding and is vastly underrated and had people at the wrong time of their career to be, you know what I mean? Like, that's another good movie.
Listen, like Shane Black has some misses in the filmography, but has some real good ones in there too. I've come around.
Buddy action is like really his thing.
So he wrote Monster Squad, which I love Monster Squad.
I didn't know he wrote that. Okay.
He wrote Lethal Weapon and Lethal Weapon 2. He also wrote Last Action Hero, which I've come around in my old age to reappreciating Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
And then he wrote Long Kiss Goodnight, wrote and produced Long Kiss Goodnight.
He does buddy action very well.
Yep. And then he script doctored Original Predator, Dead Heat, and The Hunt for Red October.
Right.
So, I mean, that's touching it up a little bit. Like, it's pretty good.
I'm also of the very like hot take. I actually really like Iron Man 3. So
I think we've been waiting X number of years for Iron Man 3 to pay itself off, and it hasn't.
Oh, for sure. Like there are, I think that the problems I have with the film are more to do with the universe at large and less about the delivery. I personally love what I describe as fish out of water Tony Stark.
Sure.
Right? He's like for the vast majority of Iron Man 3, he's without like the majority of his tech. He's without the majority of his like influence and wealth. Like I know a lot of people were whatever about the kid, but like I love the interactions with the kid because he's like the most anti-father figure parent person ever. So to me, it's it's any like 90s comedy where like the person who shouldn't be a parent gets stuck with a kid, right? Like I don't know. Yeah, I'm a sucker for that.
The problem is it just felt like a side story.
100%. But like side quests are fun.
I mean, sure, but side quests usually as movies don't translate as well. Side quests as television and stuff like that translate great.
Sure.
Or
so treat it as a Disney Plus series that was 2 episodes long.
Fantastic. I can
right
do that.
Like
or you sit there and you look at like the original Hellboy with Ron Perlman, where they shoehorned the corpse story into it as part of a side quest because it's like one of the iconic Hellboy stories, and great. Something like that is great, but taking the entire 2.5 hour movie and making them into that is, oh Jesus, I fucked this up.
I know that I am like very much in the minority for the people who liked that film, but
right.
even though it was incredibly like predictable with the, you know, Guy Pearce turn and all of that jazz, right? Like I still liked it. Yeah. I'm not saying that it is.
You're also an Iron Man simp, so there's that.
I mean, I am, but
I'm looking behind you.
Yeah, I am, but like weirdly enough, all of the reasons that I traditionally like comic book Tony Stark, like none of that is really present in the film.
It really isn't.
And here's why I think I like the film. Almost all of my criticisms come from the fact that he is Iron Man. Like the reason that I used to not like, no, hear me out. I used to not like the film, but then I told myself, like, if this was not an Iron Man film, right, did not have the extra strings, but this was just like a generic like action film with the same general premise, I was like, I would have a good time here. Like a lot of the issues I have are more so with the either character direction of some of the people in the film or some of the ways that it ties into the greater universe, but those are all like external expectations, right? So it's the same reason why like the all women Ghostbusters film, I maintain that film is better than people give it credit for.
I agree with you.
If it was not a Ghostbusters film, if it did not have that
people
label,
would enjoy it.
People would have had a good time, right? Yeah. And that was kind of where I used to not be a fan of Iron Man 3. And I really came around when I realized, like, you know, a lot of the stuff that I have that are issues with the film are more so with the expectations and less with like how much fun I had watching it.
Yep. And that makes sense. All right. Well, let's thank some patrons and get the fuck out of here. We're going to thank our associate producers. We have Aladoris, Andy, Anthony, Sindra, Heiner, Ejor, Jacob, Quiet Goat, Sleep Coma, and Softski. Our executive producers on up. We have Blaze Storm, Diana the Green Cosplayer, John, Micaiah, Sergeant Isbjorn, the Delusion Data Analyst, and Philip. We have our Chargers Chamber of Charcoal. We have Brandon, Matt, the Jackal, and Vintox 18, as well as Zaris. So those two are going to be ready to go here soon. Well, yeah, a couple months on Vintox, but Zaris should be ready, I believe, next month. And then now people, friends, when I created a fucking Patreon tier called Ceiling Fans, the idea was that nobody would join it, because what I did is I built it into being somebody that gets to invite it onto the show as a participant to watch and instruct the action. I built a fucking digital cuck chair. And yet, within 24 hours of that Patreon tier being live and announced, we have our first ceiling fan. Polish guy Rich is gonna sit in the digital cuck chair. The fuck? I tried to make it unappealing. Instead, digital cuck chair. It's occupied. Well, we all tried hard. Both teams played hard. Still lost. Oh well. It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. Can't wait. But I was just surprised, especially when he's the person that was the first person to acknowledge it being a digital cuck chair. I figured that was going to fly for a while before anybody called me out on it. And nope, no. Not even 24 hours. Like my respect for the Fappers grew 3 times that day, because they are degenerate enough to immediately understand what I was going for, call me out on it, and then join. So, Rich, appreciate you, buddy. Can't wait. If you're interested in becoming a ceiling fan and sitting in the digital cuck chair, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/fleshandpod. Links in the show notes. There are tiers. They do different things. You can read up on it and join one. We did have a FAP After Dark, which is for paid members, like last week, I believe. I did not do a very good job of announcing it. My bad. I will be better about it, I guess. But it was still a good time. And those are, yeah, it's just a monthly-ish thing that we do live in the Patreon or in the Discord. Anybody that's a Patreon member a paid Patreon member, I should say, can come in and hang out, have a conversation, spill some tea, drink some tea, whatever. If you need to contact the show, you can reach us at fleshandpod@gmail.com. You can find us on social media, BlueSky at fleshandpod, or you can just join the Discord. It's free. Links in the show notes. Click the thing. Come and hang out. It's fun. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, want to leave us a rating and review, feel free. It's funny because I went in and looked to see if there was any ratings, because I sometimes do. We have one-star rating because of us trash talking America. I didn't feel that bad about it.
No, I don't know. Look, if you don't want us to trash talk America, then like
do better
give
America.
Us some class support. All right, roll out the
give
America Mastery
give it some
pack.
Class support. Fucking Christ,
dude. I'm just
please
saying.
Give us some class support. I agree.
We haven't got like any living legend points in a decade. That's all I'm saying.
No, and our class is brutalized right now. Charmer, where can they find you? I'm definitely getting an email about that.
I hope so. The Discord is the best place to find me.
You're not gonna just tear people to shit.
No, I might. It just depends on the day.
Sure.
Probably not for like another, I don't know, 3 months or whatever. Or
okay.
I don't know, next full moon.
When Mercury's in Gatorade again or whatever.
Yeah, I guess so. And yeah.
Sure. Well, I think that's our show for this week. 193 in the books on the inexorable march to episode 200, which is going to have some shit going on. So, God, I really should figure out what date is that going to be. So it'd be like 7 weeks from now. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So September 27th, 28th area. 28th, 27th, 28th, 29th. Somewhere in there. But thanks everybody for listening and watching and supporting us. And yeah, we'll be here next week because what the fuck else are we going to do? I'll be back from Kansas City with stories and barbecue. So we'll see you then. Bye.